In a world full of borders, papers, and nationalities, some people discover a home that has nothing to do with blood, only heart. And this is the story of a boy who found his identity in the last place he expected, the Philippines. He wasn't born Filipino. He didn't speak the language. He didn't know the culture. He didn't even know where the Philippines was on a map. But life, in its strange, beautiful way, led him to an island nation that would shape everything he would one day become. His name was Daniel. Daniel was only 6 years old when his world collapsed. A political conflict tore his homeland apart, and in one violent night, he lost everything. His parents, without warning, disappeared in the chaos. All he remembered were shouts, smoke, and hands pulling him away. The next thing he knew, he was alone. For weeks, he wandered refugee camps, hungry, silent, and terrified. He spoke no English. He trusted no one. Every loud sound made him flinch. Every stranger looked like danger. Hope was a forgotten word. Until one day, a volunteer from a humanitarian mission knelt down beside him. She was Filipina, small frame, soft voice, eyes overflowing with warmth. Her name was Ailing Rosa. She fed him. She wrapped him in a blanket. She said one sentence that he never forgot. Hindi kaya nag-iisa, anak. You are not alone, my child. He didn't understand the words, but he felt them. For the first time in months, he slept peacefully. And the next morning, everything changed. Ailing Rosa called her team. She said she wanted to bring Daniel to the Philippines temporarily, until he could be reunited with distant relatives. Papers were arranged. Flights booked. And soon, the boy with no home was carried across the ocean to a land he had never even heard of. When Daniel stepped out of the plane, he expected fear. He expected stares. He expected coldness. But instead, he was met with something else. Smiles. The airport staff smiled. The nurses smiled. Even random passengers smiled at him. He didn't know why. He didn't know them. He didn't even look like them. But they smiled anyway. And that was his first lesson about the Philippines. Here, strangers behave like family. Daniel was brought to a small barangay outside Davao City, where a foster family agreed to take care of him temporarily. The house was small. The walls were thin. The roof leaked when it rained. But the moment he entered, the whole family rushed toward him. Hello. Kumain Kana. Do you want juice? Want to play? And cute. He didn't understand a single word, but for the first time since losing his parents, he felt like a child again. Days passed. Then months. Then years. And slowly, the Philippines began to raise him. He learned his first Tagalog phrase from the kids in the neighborhood. Tara, laro tayo. Come on, let's play. He ate his first sinigang and cried because it was too sour. He danced his first tinikling and tripped so many times he became the barangay joke. He imitated jeepney barkers for fun. He even memorized Manny Pacquiao fight dates before he knew his own birthday. Daniel wasn't just living in the Philippines. He was becoming Filipino. Not by blood, but by heart. He learned po and opo. He learned to bless the hand of elders. He learned that Filipinos never let anyone eat alone. He learned that when life gets hard, Filipinos laugh louder. And he learned that the Filipino heart, even when poor, was never empty. At school, teachers were shocked at how quickly he adapted. Students treated him like a long-lost cousin. He wasn't the foreign boy anymore. He was simply Sai Daniel. One day, when he was 13, a teacher asked him, Daniel, where is home for you now? He smiled and said softly, Ditto po. Here. But life wasn't done surprising him. When he turned 17, his biological relatives from abroad were finally located. They wanted him back. Papers were prepared. A new life was waiting for him. But when he sat in his small room in Davao, looking at the Filipino family that raised him, he felt torn. How do you leave the people who gave you a life? How do you walk away from the land that taught you how to love again? The night before his departure, his foster mother placed her hand on his cheek. Daniel, anak, you are free to go. But remember, having another home doesn't erase this one. The next morning, the entire barangay walked him to the airport. Everyone cried. Even the tricycle drivers cried. Kids hugged his legs. Elderly women gave him snacks para hindi kaya magudam. Someone placed a rosary in his hand. Someone else slipped a 50 peso bill into his pocket. He boarded the plane with shaking hands. And when the aircraft lifted off the ground, his tears fell, not because he was scared, but because he realized something. He wasn't leaving the Philippines. The Philippines was coming with him. He carried it in his accent. He carried it in his laughter. He carried it in his love for a simple life, for family, for food, for faith. He carried it in the way he prayed, in the way he helped people, in the way he smiled even when things were hard. Years later, Daniel returned to the Philippines. Not as a lost boy, but as a grown man who finally understood who he was. He stepped off the plane. The humidity wrapped around him. Jeepneys honked. People shouted "Hoi! Dali na!" Vendors sold banana Q by the gate. And he smiled. Because he was home. He found his foster mother waiting near the exit. Her hair was whiter now, her back slightly bent, but her smile was the same one that saved his life. He hugged her tightly, whispering words he never got to say as a child. "Ma, salamat. You didn't just shelter me. You made me Filipino." She cried and whispered back, "Kasi anak kaya namin." Blood doesn't decide that, love does. The Philippines raised him. The Philippines healed him. The Philippines gave him an identity. Not by blood, but by heart. In the end, Daniel realized something powerful. Family is not who you are born from. Family is who stays when the world leaves you behind. And in a world filled with hate and division, the Philippines reminded him of the truth. A true Filipino is not just someone born in the islands. A true Filipino is someone who carries love, faith, resilience, and kindness wherever they go. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please share it and subscribe for more stories that warm the heart.